The ATF has quietly announced that its eForms system will be taken offline starting December 26th. This was not a press conference. It was not a major public announcement. It appeared quietly as a system notice. And yet, for thousands of gun owners, dealers, and trust filers, this is significant. If you are planning to submit a Form 1 or Form 4, or if you are an FFL dealer relying on the electronic filing system, this is a development you cannot ignore. In this video, we are going to go through exactly what the ATF notice says, who it affects, what it could mean for your pending and future filings, and what steps you should take right now. And as always, this is legal news commentary and analysis. We are not issuing legal advice or calls to action. We are simply going through the documents and explaining their real-world implications. To understand why this matters, it's important to step back for a moment and review the purpose of eForms. eForms is the ATF's electronic submission system for applications related to the National Firearms Act. That includes Form 1, which allows individuals to make a firearm, Form 4, which allows transfers of NFA items, Form 5, and a few other filings. Before eForms, these applications were entirely paper-based, which often led to long delays and processing errors. eForms was supposed to modernize the process, streamline approvals, and allow faster communication between filers and the ATF. However, the system has not always been flawless. Users have reported slowdowns, glitches, and occasional processing delays. While eForms has largely improved accessibility, any outage, especially a scheduled shutdown, can create ripple effects through the filing system. That is why this notice, quietly announced, is worth paying attention to. Now, let's look specifically at the notice. According to the ATF, the eForms system will be unavailable starting December 26th. During this period, no electronic submissions will be accepted. That means that if you attempt to submit a Form 1, Form 4, or other applicable forms while the system is offline, it will not go through. The ATF describes this as a planned maintenance period intended to update the system. They do not provide further details on the scope of the updates, the exact length of downtime, or whether the maintenance addresses any specific technical issues. Here is where it gets particularly important. The notice does not specify when the system will be back online, nor does it explain whether already submitted applications will continue to be processed at the same pace during the outage. This is a critical detail for anyone relying on the system. Historically, outages like this do not cancel submissions, but they can affect workflow and timelines. In short, the notice confirms the shutdown, but leaves many operational questions unanswered. Who exactly is impacted by this shutdown? Let's break it down. 1. Individual filers. If you are planning to submit a Form 1 or Form 4 around late December, your options are limited. Either submit before the outage or wait until eForms returns online. Missing this window could delay your application by several days or weeks, depending on how long the outage lasts. 2. Dealers/FFLs. Dealers rely heavily on eForms for timely processing. A planned shutdown, even if short, can lead to a backlog. When the system returns, multiple submissions could flood the ATF servers at once, slowing processing and potentially delaying approvals. 3. Trusts and legal entities. Applications submitted by trusts or corporations are typically more complex. They require additional documentation and review. Any interruption in electronic submissions could extend approval timelines, even if the system comes back online promptly. 4. Pending applications. If your application has already been submitted and accepted by the system prior to December 26th, it is unlikely to be negatively impacted. However, any backlog created by new submissions piling up during the outage could indirectly slow processing times. The takeaway: almost everyone using eForms in any capacity is affected, either directly or indirectly. Why does this matter more than just a simple downtime? There are a few reasons. First, timing. Late December is a period when staffing and workflow are already reduced due to holidays. Combine that with a system outage, and you have the potential for delays extending into January and beyond. Second, volume. eForms handles thousands of applications daily. Even a short interruption can create a backlog that takes days or weeks to process once the system is restored. Third, trust and reliability. eForms was introduced to modernize and streamline the filing process. Any disruption raises questions about the system's reliability and its ability to handle high-volume periods efficiently. Fourth, planning. Gun owners, dealers, and trust administrators often plan around expected timelines. An unannounced or minimally explained outage forces adjustments and may affect scheduling for transfers, manufacturing, or other legal actions. Finally, communication matters. The ATF notice provides minimal detail. Users are left to interpret the notice and anticipate its impact, which can lead to confusion, frustration, and misinformation spreading online. So, what actions should you take in response to this announcement? 1. Submit early. If you have a Form 1 or Form 4 ready to submit, do it before December 26th. That ensures it is in the system and avoids any delay caused by the outage. 2. Check with your dealer. If you are filing through an FFL, confirm that everything is complete and ready. Dealers will be navigating the same system constraints and may face their own internal backlogs. 3. Save documentation. Keep copies of all confirmations, receipts, or filings. In case any issues arise when the system comes back online, having proof of submission is essential. 4. Stay updated. The ATF may release additional information regarding the outage, including estimated return times or additional maintenance details. Make it a habit to check their notices regularly. 5. Be realistic about timelines. Even if your application is submitted before December 26th, expect some slowdown in processing immediately after the system comes back online due to the backlog. Planning ahead can help mitigate frustration. Remember, this is not speculation. The outage is confirmed. What remains uncertain is the duration and the exact operational impact. Let's examine potential scenarios after the outage. Scenario 1. Short outage, minimal backlog. The system comes back online within 24 to 48 hours, and the ATF quickly processes queued submissions. Some minor delays may occur, but approvals continue roughly on schedule. Scenario 2. Longer outage, moderate backlog. If maintenance takes longer than expected, submissions will accumulate. Approvals could be delayed by several days to weeks, especially for complex filings or those requiring additional review. Scenario 3. Extended outage, high volume. If the outage extends and a surge of new submissions floods the system, the backlog could last for weeks. This would affect dealers, individual filers, and trusts, and could push some expected timelines into January or February. Understanding these scenarios helps set realistic expectations for anyone relying on the system. Beyond the immediate effects, this outage illustrates a broader issue: the reliance on centralized electronic systems for critical filings. eForms was intended to reduce paperwork and speed processing, but a single planned outage, especially during a high-volume period, demonstrates the vulnerability of centralized systems. For gun owners, dealers, and trust administrators, it's a reminder of the importance of staying informed, monitoring official notices, and having contingency plans. Additionally, the ATF's communication strategy, quiet announcement, minimal detail, highlights the need for users to interpret official documents carefully. In this environment, relying on secondhand information or rumors can be risky. This is why channels that focus on documents, filings, and official notices, rather than speculation, build long-term trust with viewers. From a legal perspective, the outage does not change any rights or obligations. The National Firearms Act remains in effect. Filers are still legally allowed to make or transfer items, provided they comply with all existing laws and regulations. The only change is administrative, temporary inability to submit filings electronically. Any speculation about cancellations, invalidation of submissions, or changes to the law is incorrect. Understanding this distinction is critical. Outages affect workflow, but they do not create legal violations or affect compliance requirements. Practical tips for preparing. Double-check all filings and ensure they are complete and accurate. If you rely on an FFL dealer, communicate with them early. Keep records of all submission attempts, receipts, and correspondence. Plan for potential delays in approvals after December 26th. Monitor official ATF updates regularly. Following these steps ensures you are not caught off guard and can continue your filings with minimal disruption. In conclusion, the ATF has quietly announced the eForms shutdown beginning December 26th. This outage is planned, confirmed, and will affect nearly all users of the system to some degree. While we don't yet know the exact length of downtime or the full operational impact, filers and dealers should plan accordingly. Submit early if possible, monitor updates, and stay informed. This is Legal News Commentary. We focus on official documents and filings, not speculation. Subscribe for daily updates on ATF, DOJ, SCOTUS, and Second Amendment news. No hype, no panic, just the information you need to stay ahead and informed.